about pro wrestlers. Y'all know you're gonna win before anybody else does. So thank you for teaching me that.
It's amazing.
What was Dutch's reaction? I'm just curious as a viewer of the story time with Dutch Mantel that I haven't seen this clip yet. What did he say?
I think he did this face, went like that.
Yeah,
I don't think he could believe his ears.
But that's the thing. You did a video on James Romero channel where you talked about that she was talking about something completely different in a completely different vein that was connected to the pre-show, which doesn't sound anything like what she said during the actual show. So I don't, for everybody, and you said Camille is coming out at everybody saying they're super mean and everything. When you played that for me or you sent me that and then I looked deeper into it, I'm like, there's no other way to interpret this in a live crowd after the cage match, right? This was after Ospreay and Fletcher in the cage. Not only did you just say that was all fake and they knew who was going to win, which the fans already know, but it's like, don't put it right on my nose like that. Don't tell me I wasted my money to see something that's fake. You put it out perfectly. So please, everybody, watch that clip concerning this. But for people after the fact, playing Monday Morning War quarterback, playing revisionist history, and for Camille and everybody to say, no, you just heard her wrong. Is that essentially Camille saying?
Basically, in that all these wrestlers are so reactionary, or wrestling fans are so reactionary, and it's like, well,
don't do anything to make us react.
There's no other reasonable way of reacting to it or interpreting it any other way. And the other thing was she's very intelligent. She's a very deep thinker. It's like, what?
What is she?
Where's the evidence?
That one through.
Exactly. Thing is, I can actually sort of see where she's coming from, actually. She just said it in the most boneheaded, stupid way imaginable, which everyone said something stupid. I understand it. Rarely on pay-per-view in front of 11,000 people in an arena.
Well, I got to counter that.
Oh, God. What have you done?
And said stupid things. We actually have to do a watch-along. I'm going to tell you after the show. So it's one of the most infamous segments in the new ECW history. An absolute rib that I leaned into, and we will do it on either as a YouTube exclusive or a future episode.
Okay, don't even tell me what it is.
Not yet.
I don't
I'll
know.
tell you after
Just
the
show
show.
it me. Oh, well, I'm looking forward to it. Right, okay, this sort of opens up its second avenue of something to explore then, is that some people are like, what, don't you know wrestling is this? I'd call it fake. I know a lot of wrestlers, or some fans have an issue with the word fake, and they call it predetermined or whatever. I don't know where you... I mean, you've called wrestling fake a ton of times, but then you always walk it back. What's your opinion on that word?
Well, I use that word because it is a word that catches people's attention. I use fake and subjective, meaning the whole goal is to not hurt your opponent, and the decision of who goes over, who wins, who does the job, who loses, is subjective on someone else, a third party, a promoter, somebody in management, somebody in power, or you just try to figure it in with somebody there. You're never really in control of any of that stuff. We talked about it earlier in the show, or actually to watch along on Patreon. I didn't know that Moxley and Adam Copeland have refused to lose, so they included Christian to do the job in the match.
That's a fan thing.
That's a...
Yeah, that's not an official report or anything. I think a lot of people are
when
reporting
you talk
it.
about it, I consider it to be an official report. You didn't preface it with it was a fan.
I did. I said fan theories.
Okay. Well, what's the fan theory on this girl? Let's switch the subject back to this promo. How are we supposed to interpret it? Is it, hey, everybody on this show tonight, is this the way she meant it? No matter what you do on this show or in AEW or in pro wrestling, no matter where you are on the card, at the bottom or the top, each and every one of you is a star, and each and every one of you is a winner in my book. Is that what she's saying?
That's what she's meaning.
She didn't say anything.
That's
like
not what
that.
she said. No, as I say, I say this, and it really annoys people. It's like, we've all agreed as a society what English words mean. And the words that she used very much did not mean what she intended in that. Here's the other thing.
It probably doesn't help. I'm going to interrupt you. because this is probably where you're going. It doesn't help that she literally smiled like a Cheshire cat and looked at everybody like, I just dropped that. Like she was going to drop the mic after that. Like nothing more. Did you get that impression? Like, guess what, everybody? I'm about to give you some knowledge.
Yeah, she was trying to. Well, she's a very deep thinker. Do you think, in her own mind, I believe she was trying to put over wrestling?
In her mind.
Do you think that, or
now you're talking about what she meant, what she thought, what she felt, and what was said. And these three things are together. The thing where she said it is the part that goes way off script.
Yeah, with Camille's sort of retort, I just like, yeah, I know you want to stick up for your friend, but basically what you've done is you're just making yourself like an idiot, and her an even bigger idiot, because now you're just keeping the story in the news for an extra day. I mean, just try and brush past it and accept that she said something wrong and it's not actually everybody else's fault.
Well, let's not forget, too, you talk about Camille. I didn't even know she was still with the company, and then you told me she was in the movie.
She's still with the company, and that's the other thing.
She was not used at all to promote this movie on AEW. So her and Tony Storm are in the movie, correct?
Yeah, as well as Britt Baker.
Well, that's a whole nother story. We've covered that in clips in the past. So you're not using your own talent to say they are movie stars as well, to give them more credibility. You bring out, like you said, somebody that wasn't even in the top 3 or 4 billing on the movie to
She was
promote
13th.
it. So everybody,
13th.
I mean, everybody, I know the other girl because I worked with her on Heels. So she was the...
Oh, did you really? I didn't know you worked on
I was
Heels.
stunt double and I was an extra.
Okay, right. So, yeah, the whole Camille thing is just bizarre, I think, because I know you don't watch AEW every week. You'll watch what I send you and all the important stuff, of course, but basically Camille went from Diesel to nothing. She just disappeared. In fact, actually, she went the last time she was... No, she went from Diesel to Christopher Daniels, except for the punching herself in the back of the head, in the front of the head to bring more blood up. That's the last she was seen of, was dead in the back. And then she's not been back in 4 months.
So it's a strange dynamic. So let me try to think about this. She's been ghosted by AEW, according to the clip you talked about on your channel. She does this movie, which should put her back in at least the cross-promotion stream of AEW wrestling in general, but it does not. So as the movie's about to come out, they don't even bring her back. The movie debuts, they don't bring her back. They promote the movie on AEW, but do not bring back a contracted AEW wrestler, nor the other 2 that we're talking about, 3 that are featured or were featured. But you bring these 2 out and you still have not explained it. Was she trying to defend this girl to getting good with Hollywood, or was she defending this girl, defending AEW as well? I think it's more towards Hollywood, trying to politic.
Yeah. Yeah, she's defending a friend and sort of, I guess, insulting wrestling fans at the same time. But I find her whole entrance into AEW and then this quick fall very fascinating, because she's strong on her political opinions that are rather divisive, especially, I guess, to a lot of women in the locker room as well, which she put out there. And then 2 weeks later, she's quit Mercedes Moné and then she's written off TV. And then also, just before that, she had a couple of stinkeroos of matches on Dynamite as well. So I'm just sort of thinking, I don't know if it's a personality clash or what, but just some or all of those things, I'm guessing, Tony Khan or Mercedes Moné or whoever else looked at that and went, forget it, move on.
Let me ask you this. I've been in many different locker rooms. It seems like even if there is stuff like this and little blow-ups or people not getting along or anything like that, that it still operates pretty much on the basis that everybody's there to make money and make a living, and it might be whatever. I'll just avoid you till I can't avoid you, then we'll do something and we'll just get in and out and hopefully nobody gets hurt. Why is it in AEW they can never do that? This is not the first example. This is not the 3rd example. This is not the 6th example. This is probably more than the 10th example, and the most notably being Punk. Like, it's almost like whoever comes in there that's outside, they are trying to destroy any any positive direction that they could take the company in and basically protecting their spot, as I talked about earlier. Like, why is the Young Bucks and these other people protecting their spot when they're as in good as anybody else? Like the Punk stuff. What is what is it about AEW that makes it was supposed to start out unlike wrestling in any way possible. The carny aspect, no not taking care of the talent, not equal pay in wrestling. They were supposed to do away with all this and a lot more tired old tropes. But it seems like AEW encapsulates carny pro wrestling more than any other company has.
How damaging, I mean, it's not damaging at all in a sense, but I mean, how damaging is someone just going out there and saying whether they meant it or not? You know that all these guys know who are going to win before they actually get out here, right? Is it damaging at all? Or is it just the kind of thing where it just makes people feel a bit silly or just groan? Is it a big deal at all in 2025 during a show to say that?
If this was something that stood alone, it would probably create whatever, as far as, like you said, bad feelings, something with shock with the fans. The even worse part that I'm going to lay out right now, why it's not shocking and why that's even worse for AEW, because at this point, oh no, another week AEW did something stupid. Another week we got the every week something seems to happen with AEW that devalues and lowers and causes people to not take them seriously. So the lack of reaction or the expected, here we go again. That's even worse than, my God, how did AEW let this person talk on the microphone where they usually say, well, there's another person talking on the microphone. Oh, there's a person refusing to back off a chair shot. Two people, as a matter of fact. Oh, there's a girl just pulling the chair, and the girl with the chair is not doing anything. That was literally last week or the week before. Now we got this. It's always something. If you're a worker and you were in WWE, TNA, the Indies, whatever it might be, and Tony Khan approaches you, he's going to pay you a ton of money. It's going to be a 5-year deal, whatever it's going to be. You're going to be there for a length of time. And you see this pattern repeat itself over and over again, usually with people that have an understanding of the way it should work to draw money instead of just spot fest, this, that, the other thing, the action figures wrestling the ring and Tony's playing with them, whatever metaphor you want to use. Would you pause and would you initially refuse whatever money it is to go to that company because you already know what's going to happen?
Depends on what part of my career I'm in. If I'm in the latter stages and I just want an easy ride and a paycheck, then yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't seem like an easy ride. Like Edge came in and had that thing with Ricky Starks, and it looked like he was flustered. It just seems like whoever goes there they do not protect them as workers, and people look at them and go, man, they've become worse since they went to AEW. You get devalued by going there.